If you have a desire to become a better version of your current self, then this podcast is for you. I share with you helpful thoughts, tips, and stories surrounding fitness and self-improvement which you can apply to your life today. So for those of you that want to take control of your life, to learn, to grow, to become that which you desire most, I am your host, Connor Malone, and this is the pursuit of constant improvement. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about why you lack motivation and how to change that. So in today's episode, this is really going to be for the type of people that have goals and aspirations, but constantly keep feeling at them. You're always feeling like, oh, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that, but you can never seem to find the motivation to get you to take action in order to pursue the things that you want to pursue. I'm going to be sharing with you today how, if you feel like you're in a rut and you can't get out of it, the steps that you need to take in order to pull yourself out of there. Because if you're desperate to change, this is what is needed. This is the position that I was in. Because when I was 18 years old, there was everything I wanted to do with my physique, with my business, with my own improvement as a whole. I had so many ideas, so many things that I wanted to do. I had it all planned out in my head. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And when push came to shove, there was nothing. There was no action. I seemed so inspired all the time, but there was nothing there. And I always looked at it as like, there's no motivation. I just don't have the motivation. I felt like a total failure. I felt stupid because I was like, oh, I'm always telling myself I want to do these things. So you lack confidence. You start to lack self-belief because you're saying you're going to do all these things, but you never end up doing them. And again, for years, I was putting this rut down to just not having enough motivation. I was sitting watching Netflix all the time. I would be skipping training sessions. I'd be scrolling social media. It was a bad one for me. And again, I was always bringing it back to that. I was thinking, right, it must be this lack of motivation. Now, today, fast forward a few years, I get up early every single day of the week. I get up between 4 and 6 a.m. every day. I train first thing in the morning. Sometimes I train twice per week. I work on myself every day of the week and my business almost every day of the week. And that's because I want to, not because I feel like I need to, because I want to. The pursuit of constant improvement, my whole lifestyle and pushing towards this, it never used to be like that. So I'm going to explain to you, how did I gain that maybe motivation that you're thinking there? How did I change that from there? These are the exact lessons that I've thought of that have helped me become this type of person that I'm starting to become compared to who I used to be. Now again, it was always the focus on motivation. I was always thinking to myself, why am I not motivated? But the problem I had wasn't from motivation. It wasn't from a lack of that. It was from a lack of discipline. And it'll be the same for you. If you're in a position where you have all these goals and you keep saying you're going to push towards them and you never do, it's not necessarily your lack of motivation, it's your lack of discipline. Because discipline is when you do things that you need to do regardless of how you feel about it. You get down and you do it. Like, again, guys think of David Goggins. He's like the big guy that people think of when it comes to that. He's the type of guy that says he's going to do something, he goes and does it. And people are like, well, why is he so motivated? The thing is, he's very disciplined because he's became disciplined. Now, how do you become disciplined and why do you stop thinking about motivation? You become disciplined by practicing it. Because the important thing to take away from this is discipline is a skill, motivation is a feeling. Motivation comes and goes. Like, you feel motivated at times. Like at night, you might watch videos, you might do, oh, I'm going to get up early tomorrow, I'm feeling great, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You wake up in the morning, zero motivation, snooze the alarm, you go back to sleep. That's the thing that you're relying on, is that feeling of motivation. So then what young guys, and what I led myself to do, is I was searching up YouTube videos. How do you start to be motivated? Is there something you can eat? Is there a routine that you can follow that triggers this thing in the brain and makes you motivated? You're always looking for that secret pill, whatever that happens to be, that little trick that triggers motivation in your brain. And the truth is, it isn't there. Motivation is a thing. As I said, it's a feeling, and it can be beneficial. When you feel motivated, if you act upon that, it can be really powerful. However, it's not something to be relied upon. Discipline is what you rely upon. Because as I said, it's a skill. It's something that you can develop. Like kicking a ball. You can develop that. How do you get better at kicking a ball? You practice it. You spend time and effort working towards it. Now, the first thing I'm going to delve into today is how you can become disciplined. How you can practice the skill of discipline. Now, to practice discipline, what we need to do is things that we don't want to do. Because that's exactly what I said in the beginning. That is what discipline is. A disciplined person is someone who can do something regardless of how they feel at the time. They're tired, they're angry, they're scared, but they still go and follow through and do something. That's both courage and discipline. Now, if that's the type of guy you want to be able to push through things and do things. You want to be able to wake up in the morning, even when you're tired, even when you're fatigued. You want to get that work done that you have to get done. You want to get that gym session in that you want to have to get done. It's not going to come from motivation. That's going to come from discipline. So what you need to do is regularly put yourself in a position where you can practice that. So some of the ways you can do it is like a cold shower, for example. Cold shower, you go into it, very uncomfortable, that kind of fight or flight response kicks in, you start to hyperventilate. Not a nice feeling. By doing things like that on a regular basis, you become more comfortable in that type of environment. It could be when you don't want to do work. If you sit down and you commit to doing even 5 or 10 minutes of work. It could be working out when you don't really want to. It can be going outside a run in the rain. When you start to do small things that you don't want to do, you become better at doing them overall. Basically, it becomes the norm for you. You do things regardless of how you feel at the time. You've done it for so long. Now, as I said, it's built up over time. You don't just go from where you are now to David Goggins' level of discipline. He started as a very overweight individual who couldn't even run a mile. But he started to practice discipline slowly, bit by bit, and then you start to improve over time. And that's exactly how I done it as well. Because, as this quote here says, success is a sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Discipline's the exact same. Small efforts, small amounts of discipline, day in, day out. It could be not snoozing that alarm, regardless of what time you get up at. Rather than snoozing it, you get up on that first alarm. That's you chose the difficult thing. You've chose to be disciplined and get up rather than that comfort of lying in your bed. By doing that on a regular basis, you'll become more disciplined. And that's one of the key things. Now, of course, I'm going to delve a bit more into motivation and how we can actually improve that, but discipline is always going to be the forefront. If you want to be this person who appears to be motivated, if they're like, oh, that guy's so motivated, he does this, he does that, believe me, that comes from discipline. That person does not wake up every morning raring to go all the time. They have to utilize discipline. Now, another important part of this, to be actually motivated, if you ever want to feel any sense of motivation, you have to have a purpose. You have to have something to pursue. Because you can't, if you have nothing to tie your progression to, you're never going to get any motivation from it. A goal, it could be an ideal self. You just need something to work towards. Because your lack of purpose will delay any form of motivation. If you have no idea of what you want to do or why you want to do something, you're not going to be motivated to do it. Whereas if you uncover a deep sense of a deep why, like let's say you're overweight, you're not happy with how you look, you're really fucking uncomfortable with how you look. That's your why, that's your purpose. Because you don't want to get up and look in the mirror every morning and be sick of what you see. You want to have a high level of self-belief and a high level of confidence in yourself. That's your why. So when it comes down to those big decisions of, oh, should I go to the gym, should I not? You think, no, because I don't want to be that person anymore. That's what's going to motivate you, and that comes from a sense of purpose. So by finding that sense of purpose, you're much more likely to be disciplined and motivated towards doing the things you know you need to do. Another thing, which is a very noble pursuit, is working to impress yourself. Don't work to impress others. So many of us we do things to gain the approval from other people. We want compliments. We want somebody to say, oh, you're so disciplined, or oh, you're doing so well, or this or that. If you always tie that to your sense of motivation to other people and other people's compliments, you're never going to be motivated. Whereas if you try to impress yourself, you're much more likely to gain motivation from that. We need to stop trying to impress others and impress ourselves for once. Like, make yourself proud. Fuck what other people think. Like, we're always constantly trying to think, oh, so-and-so will be happy with me or whatever. Make yourself proud. It's an incredible feeling to have such a feeling of being proud of yourself, because it brings up self-belief, it brings up self-confidence. When you can finish a day or finish a week and think, wow, I'm proud of myself. I've done the things I said I was going to do. That will make you more motivated to continue to do that. So again, do not look elsewhere for praise or motivation. Get it internally, get it from yourself, get it from your own progression from there. There's a really good quote from Seneca, and he's talking about, to his friend, he's writing in a letter, and he basically is saying that one of the most successful things that he's done is he started to become a friend to himself. And this was a philosopher who studied all areas of life, and one of the best things that he done was started to become a friend to himself. So if you start to do that, you start to impress yourself, you start to feel more motivated. So don't seek motivation from those external sources. Seek it from yourself. Seek it from within. Make yourself proud. Do the things you know you need to do. Then you'll start to become more motivated from there. Your own progress will fuel your motivation. An important point to that is that action precedes motivation. As I spoke about in the beginning, we're often sitting scrolling on our phone, sitting there late at night or even early in the morning, and we're thinking, I wish I was more motivated. Like, where's my motivation? I want to go to the gym. Why am I just not motivated to get up and go? Where's that feeling to get up and go? It's not coming. The only time it's going to come to you and you're going to feel more motivated is by taking action. All of the things we spoke about so far, so working to impress yourself, having something to pursue, like practicing discipline, all of this comes through action. If you aren't taking action, you're never going to feel motivated. That's the big mindset shift. You don't wait on motivation to come. You make it come to you. Again, as it says, action precedes motivation. Action must be first. Your lack of action explains your lack of motivation. The fact that you're sitting on the couch all day, you're scrolling on your phone, you're eating foods you know you shouldn't be eating, you're skipping the gym, you're not doing the things you say you're going to do. That's why you feel so shit. That's why you're lacking confidence, you're lacking self-belief. But then you're blaming it on, I've just not got the motivation. Why would you have the motivation? Think of people who are motivated. What do? They take action. They're the people that's doing shit day in, day out, and that's why they feel motivated, because they're going out, they're putting in the work. Action precedes motivation. It comes first. That's the thing you need to do. And an important part of that is change doesn't happen by chance. Okay, it's not just going to, as I said there, it's not going to come to you. Nothing's going to change until you do. You need to begin to take action, and that is when motivation will come in there. So again, if you're one of these people that are constantly complaining about how you feel, I feel rubbish, I'm never motivated, I can just never get up and go, it's because you're not taking action. That's the simple fact of it. It doesn't need to be on huge steps. Take a small bit of action. Get up and go outside for a walk. Go into the gym. Go on the treadmill for 10 minutes. Do something. Choose the right food over the wrong food. Get up early one day of the week. Don't snooze that alarm. Just get up in that first alarm. It doesn't need to be early. Do one thing. Because when you start to do these things, that is when motivation will come. Don't sit around and wait for it. Take action. Motivation will follow. One of the things I think of related to that is, again, someone who feels the way that I want to feel. Let's say it is, again, motivated, disciplined, on their shit. What do those people do? Those people that do have high levels of discipline, those people that do feel motivated, what are they doing? They're taking action. So again, you copy those people. The manuscript is there. People have done it before you. You copy what they're doing. You take action. That is when you'll start to feel motivated. Now, a few more things I wanted to share with you are those thoughts of the disciplined and the motivated, the way that these people perceive the world, the way that they see things, because the way that we see discipline and motivation is huge. It's going to impact how it relates in your life. Now, one of the key things, and I find from all levels of high performers that I've interacted with, are that they focus on the output, not the outcome. Because when you focus on the end goal and the output, and it's like, I want this physique, or I want this outcome with a job or whatever, you're not focused on the day-to-day tasks that's going to get you there. Focus on what you have to put out, your output. When you focus on that, the daily tasks, that's when you'll start to gain motivation. Because an end goal or an end outcome is too far in the future. You need to think, right, what are the things I need to do today? See, when you start to tick them off, you'll gain little bits of motivation. And as Naval Ravikant says, inspiration is perishable. Act on it immediately. When you get these wee bits of motivation, these wee bits of inspiration, act on it. That's when you take that action. And it'll continue to snowball. Like if you've listened to this episode and you're like, fuck, I get what he's talking about. Like, I get that. Take action. What's stopping you? Unless you're sitting in your bed at midnight right now, then maybe that. But any other time of the day, go take action. Do something. Anytime you feel that little bit of inspiration, that little bit of motivation, take action on it from there. Another thing that I find common amongst people that are high performers is they strive for weekly progress, not daily. Because if all you're ever focused on is daily progress, you're going to have bad days. I have bad days all the time, but I very rarely have a bad week. So if I look at my Monday and Tuesday and for whatever reason, maybe I'm ill, maybe something's not going well, or I forgot to do something, that doesn't write off everything. Because I look at my week through non-negotiables, weekly non-negotiables. Things that I need to do are not daily things, they're weekly things. So if you muck up on Monday, you've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to make up for it. So if you choose to see your world through looking at a week rather than just a day, you're much more likely to feel those instances of motivation from there. Another thing, success is a relative term. So what that means is what you view as success is different to you, it's different to other people. It's a really important mindset thing to remember, in the sense of, what do you define as success? It doesn't need to be what everybody else does. What's a successful week for you? It's a relative term. What is it to you? If you define that what that is, it means that you're much more likely to be able to achieve that and feel good at the end of the week. Because when you get these wee bits of success, that's when you start to get wee bits of motivation. Another thing with success is the fact that it's a lagging metric. So if you ever feel like you're like, oh, I'm doing the things I know I need to be doing, but I'm just not getting to where I want to be yet, it's a lagging metric. You don't do one or two things and become successful at what you're pursuing. It happens over time. So bear that in mind. Success is a lagging metric. It will come over time. You don't do one thing and then you become successful. You put in the work for days, weeks, months, and even years, and then it starts to creep into your life. Then you start to see little things. Oh, right, there's an element of success. And you have to keep your eye out for that. Now, the takeaways from today's episode are simple. Focus on discipline, not motivation. Because discipline is a skill that you can develop. Motivation is a feeling which you cannot control. Motivation comes and goes. If discipline is a skill that you've developed, it will be there all the time. It will be there when you need it most. Motivation cannot be relied upon. So practice discipline. The next thing is having something to pursue. You need that purpose. If you want to feel motivated, you want to feel like, fuck, I want to get up and I want to get after this, or you want to do something, you have to have a clear end goal. You have to have a clear reason why. Why do you want to go to the gym? Because you're sick and tired of how you feel and how you look, and you know that taking action is going to be the thing that's going to change that. That's your why. That's your purpose. You need to pursue that. The other thing, work to impress yourself, not other people. Again, you cannot control how other people do, how other people think, or what they say towards you. So there's no point in working to impress them. You work to impress yourself. It's an incredible position to be in when you're proud of yourself and you're proud of what you're doing on a daily and a weekly basis. Action precedes motivation. Everything that we spoke about today comes back to that. You only become motivated when you first take action. If you're not taking action, you're sitting there all day long. You're doing the things you shouldn't be doing. You're eating too much. You're scrolling through your phone. You're playing too much Xbox. You're consuming too much alcohol, too much drugs. You're consuming things in excess. You're never going to feel motivated because you're not taking action. So stop sitting there, stop complaining and thinking, oh, I want to feel motivated. The motivation will come when you decide to take action. And it can always be just small little things. Now with this, obviously one of the main things that we spoke about and we started with was the fact that discipline is a skill that you can develop. Now I have a discipline guide that's totally free, and I'm going to leave the link to it down below. So I spoke about it in one of our earlier episodes a few months ago. And this guide is basically built out to allow you to practice that skill of discipline. So if you're unsure, like, right, how do I practice discipline? What are the habits that I can do on a regular basis that will make me become more disciplined? This guide is full of them. It talks a little bit more about that discipline aspect and how you can develop it. So if you want it for free, just go down to the description below and you'll be able to get it from there. Now, I usually leave you with a quote, but I used it earlier. So that quote was, inspiration is perishable, act on it immediately. Naval Ravikant. If you've never seen his stuff before, I highly, highly recommend that you search him up. On Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, his podcast with Joe Rogan is one of the best podcasts you'll see. It's got over like 10 million views. Naval Ravikant, a wise old guy. A lot of the ideas that I've taken today and I've shared with you have come from him. So if you start to consume his information, you see it from a different angle. That's how you start to be able to apply this stuff. Because you might have heard this stuff before, but when you hear it from a different perspective, it ingrains in your mind, and that's how you start to be able to take action off of things. So as ever, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you found something useful here. And I hope you found something that you can apply to your own pursuit of constant improvement. Thank you for listening.